What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the
Geek Buddies. Hey!
I can't sing, so I have to go underneath both of you. This is absolutely a Friday afternoon show. We're a little on the wacky side right now with our vibes and our energy, and we're going to have some fun on this particular show, talking 2 reviews and talking a big Star Wars bit of news that dropped as well. We should introduce ourselves for those of you who might have stumbled upon our show for the first time. I am John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows, movies, and video games. I don't even know what I do anymore. Can't remember.
And this is Shannon McClung. I'm a television actor and an animation writer. And that thing that I was pinned for weeks was booked. So
hey!
I got the call today.
Nice. There you go. The Geek Buddies fans cheering you on. You love it. You love it. Good stuff.
What a way to go into the weekend.
Right. Congratulations, bud. Congratulations. That's awesome. All right. Well, so you're going to see Shannon's face on your screens very soon again. Fresh off his Emmy Award-winning turn there on the pit. He is on to the next thing for himself, which we're excited about. But we're also here to talk about other people who've been cast in stuff, and we should get into it right now. Let's not waste any time because we got a lot to get into today, and that is this Starfighter. That's right. Star Wars Starfighter has announced that they've started production already over there in the UK, and that they've added new people to the cast, and it's a fantastic photo that they released there in black and white. Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray, who will play the main young kid that Ryan Gosling is supposedly shepherding, possibly to Daisy Ridley's Rey by the end of the movie, sitting on a land speeder there in black and white. We know that Matt Smith and Mia Goth were already announced to be part of the cast, but we got Amy Adams and Aaron Pierre added to the cast there in the announcement, as well as Jamal Westman, Simon Bird, and Daniel Ings. So quite a cast that's been assembled for this particular movie. Plus, we got ourselves a cinematographer that was announced as well, who had done Top Gun Maverick and a number of other phenomenal films that Jeff broke last night on the hot mic. So a lot of incredible talent come together both in front of the camera and behind the camera. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on this and that picture that accompanied the release of this cast?
I mean, I like the picture. It's moody and black and white. I like the cast.
Okay.
I like Sean Levy. Like, there's a lot to like here.
Yes.
There's a lot to like here. I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
Oh, okay.
And I want an honest answer. And you said this, and I don't even know if this is what the movie's about, by the way. So we'll get back to that movie in a minute. But
fair enough.
You excited about Daisy Ridley, about Rey starting a Jedi Order?
I am, because I like Rey and I like Daisy Ridley, and I'm a big fan of her in the Star Wars universe. I'm not necessarily excited about that movie anymore, that Star Wars movie anymore, but there had been talk that a Sean Levy movie was being focused on Rey. Is this the backdoor way in? I am kind of excited about that, but, you know, especially because I like Sean Levy, but it depends on who is going to take over and take the baton from this movie if we're going into a Jedi Order Rey movie.
Right. Shannon?
I think at one point I think the concept of Rey starting a Jedi Academy, I'm like, that's a fun concept, and it's one we've never actually seen on the big screen. Like, we saw glimpses of Padawans throughout the prequels, but we never really kind of got in there to see how does someone become a Jedi. And like, granted, the literary materials, like that, that's ground that they've touched upon, but again, we've never seen it on a big screen. So I think the idea still has value, but the particular film seems like at this point there's so much smoke that there's probably fire. Whether or not this is what Starfighter is about, what Johnny was saying is Ryan Gosling, the Jason Statham transporting this kid to Daisy Ridley. Who knows? I don't know if another adult child duo is necessarily what we want in a Star Wars, considering that's ground we've touched quite a bit. But
Star Wars loves a lone wolf and cub vibe.
Yeah,
and they love it. over and over and over again. Here's what I think. The only reason I ask, I know it doesn't necessarily pertain to Starfighter, but as I was thinking about it, and as you said it, I like Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
I like Rey as a character, despite the fact that I don't love Rey's journey in that sequel trilogy. I think Rey's a cool character. I think the one Jedi that's left starting a Jedi Order is expected. And I just kind of want something new and different. And I think so that's where the Rey of it all and what she's doing in this new universe, I have a lot of questions about, but I'm not interested in. Okay. But this is what I am interested in Starfighter, because I just have no idea.
Right.
I don't know what this is. It's 5 years after Rise of Skywalker. So this is territory that we have not explored yet. Yes. I don't know the state of a galaxy far, far away. I don't know who the bad guys are going to be. Right. If they pull that whole, it's the remnants of the First Order and we just have more stormtroopers again, I'll again be kind of like, okay. But I think like what I'm excited about and what I'm hopeful for is that the reason that Sean Levy's movie has sort of sailed through where most ships have crashed and burned, as Shannon is fond of pointing out, is that hopefully he's offered something new. That if this is, like to your point, if this is Ryan Gosling is a hotshot starfighter who is transporting a young Force-sensitive kid to Rey, but oh no, these stormtroopers and the remnants of the First Order are after him, it's going to feel like every Star Wars movie we've seen, and I'm going to go, okay, unless you really sold it, it's kind of the same old, same old. But Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy have an opportunity here to say, this is the direction that Star Wars is going. We're doing something new. We're excited about it. We hope you're on board and you're coming with us. And I'm hopeful for that. I think the cast is great, director good, like everything is solid about this. Right. But I want something that I don't expect.
Well, let me, Shannon. Sorry, go ahead. Mike and I have talked to. Go ahead, Shannon. Your thoughts?
No, I replied to Mike. Go.
Okay, Johnny. Okay. Quick question. Well, then, Michael, it's not pushback, but I go back to you on this, and Shannon as well. Doesn't the fact that they had issued this photo, and I'll bring it up again, in black and white, sitting on a speeder like this, there's a swagger to this shot. There's a confidence to the shot, and you go black and white from an artistic point of view. You're essentially kind of subconsciously conveying that this is something a bit more cinematic, a bit more meatier, a bit more serious. And so does that make you feel like maybe they're understanding?
You sound like my grandpa. It's like, it's black and white. That means it's artsy.
This is cinema. This is
cinema, guys.
That means it's important.
Yeah, look, I hope that they took a lesson out of the Andor page and said, look, Andor is adult and serious and as grounded as a Star Wars show can be. And wow, look at the critical acclaim we got. Wow, look at the way people responded. Let's bring a little bit of that to this. So I hope that's the case.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Shannon?
Well, I don't know if the black and white is any sort of big indicator that there's a shift in tone. I mean, when they sent out that first photo of the Force Awakens table read, like that was in black and white. I mean, you get a lot of pre-production photos in black and white. So I don't know if that leans into any sort of importance. Just the shot that we get of Ryan Gosling, though, I mean, he definitely does have that scruffy nerf herder vibe. That's something we didn't really have in the prequels. They tried to do it with Oscar Isaac in the sequel trilogy, and the results, through no fault of Oscar Isaac's, it didn't quite land. So I mean, I like the idea. I think Ryan Gosling, the fact that he is like, obviously he's a huge movie star, but like the Fall Guy underperforming was bananas to me, even though I thought the movie was okay. I'm surprised more people didn't come out, because Ryan Gosling just seems like someone that should be a bigger movie star than he is. So maybe this is the thing. And also what Vogel said, you hope that after their sort of first experimentation with Star Wars, big budget filmmaking, Disney has learned some lessons, and that going forward, they're going to apply them a little more liberally than maybe they did with their first go around. Like, they were so excited getting stuff out that it kind of didn't pass the quality control test.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that picture. We should bring it up here to show people because you're right, Shannon. I'd forgotten about this picture. There it is, black and white, sitting around talking about it. Now, I think a black and white shot, though, of them conveniently with the door open for R2D2 there, it is a table read versus something that feels like it's
What do you mean conveniently? He has to be able to see his script.
That's right, to be able to say things. But like this is a shot from the production, whereas this is just a shot behind the scenes sitting around. So I just feel like it's a little bit different, but I take your point, Shannon. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
It is I mean, let's just to make sure that we don't get creamed in the comments for we all said black and white is artsy. John is not wrong that the composition of the Starfighter shot is very it's very artistic. The shadows are really pushed. It is a high contrast, stylized image for sure.
Yeah. High speed, low drag. That's how I describe it. But Flynn Gray is a new entity. That's a new kid. He's been in some things, some TV shows. I think he was in one episode of the recent series season of Wednesday. Not really a well-known name necessarily. So you hope Star Wars is going to take care of that kid, considering the lessons that have happened in the past with Jake Lloyd and what have you. But what are our thoughts on this lady coming into the Star Wars universe? Amy Adams certainly brings an incredible pedigree to bear here. Oscar nominated multiple times. Certainly someone who has delivered some incredible performances and very strong dramatic work. And you're putting her with people like Ryan Gosling and Matt Smith. And we'll get to Aaron Pierre in a second. But who do you guys think she might be playing? What is the role she might be in this here? Is she going to be in this the whole time? Is she with Gosling? Is she the villain? What do you think she's playing here?
I don't. Well, okay. First, I'm thrilled that she's in it.
Right.
Aside from one brassy reporter that she played that I'm not a fan of, I'm a huge fan of Amy Adams. Oh. Like aside from the one role that I feel like she wasn't cast well in, I think she's great. Arrival is like one of my top 10 movies of all time. So I'm very down for her in A Galaxy Far, Far Away. Yeah. She doesn't strike me as villain material. Maybe that's the twist. Maybe like we've never really seen her go full villain and that's the thing. But is she a member of the New Republic? Is she something more mystical? Like it brings up, you beg the question of, and you kind of hinted at it when we were talking about what this kid's role is. This kid, you said, is Ryan Gosling taking this young Jedi or this young Force sensitive kid? Well, I don't know that he is. I don't know that kid is Force sensitive. I don't know that there's any Jedi or lightsabers in this movie. But again, them getting really behind this as the big Star Wars release, aside from Mandalorian and Grogu, it does feel like somebody's got to be Force sensitive. Right. And that besides Daisy Ridley, if she indeed shows up in this movie. So what is the state of the Jedi and Force sensitive people? Because, I would say that Aaron Pierre might be a villain and Amy Adams might be a helper, a love interest, a Jedi, but maybe they flip him and Amy Adams is the villain and Aaron Pierre is our Force sensitive guy who's trying to help them with this kid. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Shannon, last I checked, when there was a little kid involved at the beginning of a movie in Star Wars, he had a mom. Could Amy Adams be playing the mom of this kid? Could Amy Adams be playing any number of a Sith or a Jedi or a member of the New or a senator? What is your guess on who Amy Adams is playing in this movie?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, in terms of age, Flynn Gray that's his name. I almost said Flynn Rider. Flynn Gray, like he looks like he's probably around 12. So Amy Adams is in her mid to late 40s, like her being his mother, like I mean, in terms of math, that certainly lines up. It's interesting because Star Wars, being that it is, takes place in a galaxy, far, far away. Yeah. Amy Adams to me is an interesting choice. She's not the person that I would go to because even in the genre things that she has played, it's very much a real world environment. So this seems this is an interesting casting choice. Again, whatever her role could be revealed, and we'd be like, oh yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, her being a teacher a politician. That all makes sense to me. A Jedi, I don't know how, again, mathematically, how that works.
Right, 'cause it's
Unless,
what, 5 years
Well, yeah.
after?
To clarify, because yes, they're a force sensitive person. When I say Jedi, yes, you're right. Aside from Rey, there are no Jedi. Like Luke
Right.
passed out on Octo and died, and Daisy's all that's left, and she has her yellow lightsaber and goes around calling herself a Skywalker. But like aside from that, there's no Jedi. There are probably lots of force sensitive people.
Right. Right.
So that's where maybe that is. We're all going to be so wrong. You wait until they reveal her in a mocap suit and we find out that Amy Adams is playing a Gungan, and we're all going to look like morons. Like that's what it's going to be. I want Amy Adams going like, Misa goings to Tatooines is.
I'm imagining that there's one force sensitive individual who we're not going to see, and it's that kid at the end of The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, leave Broom Boy alone.
Broom Kid is out of there.
Justice for Broom Boy. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna watch Last Jedi tonight.
Oh,
I'm gonna text you guys as I watch it.
nice. Misa like a Ricky Bobby. Listen, what about Aaron Pierre here? Who do you think Aaron Pierre is playing? And what does it say that Aaron Pierre has been tapped to be in this? And the ascension has been so quick. You're in a Netflix movie, and boom, you're in Lanterns. Boom, you're in another franchise here with Star Wars. This is some interesting casting for him. Do you think he's working with Ryan Gosling? Do you think he's chasing them down? Is he a Sith? Is he one like the brothers going after like what they have the sister? What do they have? The sister and the brother. What are those? The terms they use there?
The Inquisitors.
Inquisitors. That's what I was looking for. The Inquisitors. Do you
Well,
think
again, this is where the big question mark about what Star Wars is going to be is. All we are doing is recycling stuff that technically doesn't exist. There, like once we get to A New Hope, there's not really Inquisitors anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And once we got to the end of Return of the Jedi, there was no Empire. J.J. Abrams just shoved the Empire back up and said, I'm going to call it the First Order now. And we all were really wanting Star Wars back. So we said, okay, cool. Yeah. But now the First Order is gone. All of Palpatine's followers on Exegol are ostensibly gone. Yeah. So we're currently living in a world where, as far as we know, until we're told different, there is Rey possibly starting a new Jedi Order. And there are, at the moment, no Sith Lords to speak of. Now, obviously, you can easily say someone else is going to rise up and tap into the dark side and want to become a new Sith. But I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like from a storytelling standpoint, one of the things that I find interesting to do is to kind of like lean into that power vacuum. Like the New Republic tried and failed to be a better government than the Empire. And that didn't work. So we don't know what the government is. We don't know the state of the Jedi. We don't know the state of the Sith. As far as we know, none of that stuff has been figured out yet. So in that respect, Sean Levy's movie has a lot of heavy lifting to do to kind of say, here's how this galaxy is trying to rebuild itself. So in that absence, what would a bad guy be? Like who is the villain in a universe like that? Like it could be someone trying to step into Palpatine's role. It could be something totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when they announced Matt Smith, I mean, I thought they had said that Matt Smith is playing the villain. And I don't know if that's what they said or if that's what the presumption was, because when you look at Matt Smith, you're like, oh, yeah, you're a bad guy. And also the fact that he was supposed to play like a young version of Palpatine for Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
With Aaron Pierre, just looking at what he has played prior, I think coming off Jon Stewart being a space cop, I'm like, I don't see you playing another authority figure, unless it could be a villain. I mean, like, this is just my headcanon. I feel like, oh, you're a bounty hunter with a heart of gold. Like that's kind of my wishful thinking. But again, I think what Vogel pointed out is very correct in that this is the first story again on the big screen post the sequel trilogy. What does the galaxy look like? What is the government? I mean, there is, and I do agree that if it's the remnants of the First Order, that will be potentially a very disappointing development, because it's like we've done that twice. Give us something new.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to do for a big IP, and where I know because we're about to talk about Alien Earth, and I think this very much applies to Alien Earth in a good way, which is the hardest thing to do when you have a beloved IP that has been around for decades is give audiences something that equally feels like what you want it to feel like and gives you something brand new at the same time. And Alien Earth is walking this line where it's like, it feels like Ridley Scott's Alien, and they're giving us stuff we've never seen in Aliens before. And so that's kind of, to me, that's where Disney and Lucasfilm are going to be successful, is they got to take some risks.
Yeah.
And that's where I go, maybe it's not another Sith. Maybe it's not a bounty hunter. Maybe it's something brand new, a villain or an evil that we've never seen in the galaxy before.
Right.
Now, that being said, I can also see Disney and Lucasfilm freaking out about how Star Wars fans tend to Star Wars fan and go,
we lost you for a second, Mikey.
First quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you repeat your point again?
Lucasfilm going down that road of kind of being nervous about the reaction post Last Jedi, post a lot of things, and saying, "Oh no, let's give them what works, what they want. Let's give them what they want," and that I think would ultimately be a mistake.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right. Anything more we want to say on this? Anything more you want to see? I mean, we've got D23, I think, tonight. Will there be any more announcements, or was this their way of kind of getting ahead of anybody who is maybe going to spoil the release of the cast? Do you think we're done with announcements for now from this movie?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like how many people they announce, what is it, about 9?
Yeah, 9
I don't see them making any other big announcements. In terms of names, you've got 4, 5 solid ones in there. Like, you're good.
Yeah. And just to clarify, the cinematographer for this is Claudio Miranda. I didn't say his name earlier. He's directed Top Gun Maverick, as I said, Only the Brave, Spiderhead, Oblivion, Tron Legacy, and this summer's surprising blockbuster F1, which is currently doing better than Superman overall in the box office, and I don't think anybody.
I like $1 million.
I mean,
like they're neck and neck.
Michael's like, "What's $1 million between friends?" Yes, but it's still ahead of it. So I'm just saying, it's a pretty big surprise that it's done that well overall. So all right, so we'll keep tabs on this one. Excited about this one. I think a strong cast, strong director, strong cinematographer. They clearly, and this could be like, we could have completely overthought this thing, and it could just be solo, like a one-off adventure with this kid, and it's fun, and we're back to Star Wars, and we're moving on. But,
you know who else has probably overthought this? Lucasfilm.
Yeah, probably. That's 100% the truth.
But it does feel like there's like I said, Shannon brings this up all the time. Like, how many Star Wars movies have they announced that have disappeared? And this one's happened. This one has made it through the gauntlet, which either means it's really got everyone excited, or it's totally homogenized and feels safe.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
All right. Well, let's move on. I know Michael teased we were talking about Alien Earth, but I kind of want to do Peacemaker first. Are you guys good with that? Shall we jump into Peacemaker first?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, let's jump into this thing. Peacemaker, season 2, episode 2 dropped here. My computer's going a little crazy. It is A Man Is Only As Good As His Bird. This one is directed by Greg Mottola, who directed Superbad and a bunch of other TV shows and some movies, including, I think he directed Paul, which I feel about that. How you feel? But this was written by James Gunn. This is essentially a table-setting episode is what we got in this one. We had the crew getting back together, the 11th Street crew, with a little get-together by the end. We had more with Chris dealing with the law, dealing with having killed his own person there. We have stuff with him and Harcourt talking about their relationship. We also get stuff going. We also get the introduction of this man, Tim Meadows, being a part of the cast now as Langston Fleury, and what that all leads to. And Eagly has himself a grand old time eating some eyes and taking care of some baddies by the end of this thing. So, Michael, overall, what are your thoughts on this episode? What stood out to you here?
I thought this was a solid episode, but you brought up, you called it a table setting episode. I think this was a solid episode where a bunch of things happened that needed to happen. But the challenge was, as an audience, we are one step ahead of this episode. So it kind of felt a little bit like, let's get going. Like, we all know what's going to happen.
Right.
We all know that as soon as Chris killed himself from the other dimension, we know Chris is going to go to that dimension and start living there. And we already knew from the first episode that he wasn't happy with life. And so everything that happened in this episode, whether it was Adebayo going back to her apartment and talking to her girlfriend or wife, partner, or whether it was, Harcourt denying that she went there to get beat up, like everything that we learned, even with Fleury coming in.
Yeah.
Well, we learned last week that Flag was like, I don't trust Economos on this, so send somebody in. So everything that we got this week was, yes, we knew this was going to happen. You probably had to set all these things up, and you did give us a little bit more emotional stuff with Chris, and I thought John Cena did a really, really nice job. So I enjoyed all of it, but this was definitely an episode where I was like, all right, pick up the pace. The two things that were new was Fleury, who I think suffers from being some of the less good parts of James Gunn's humor.
Yes.
And then we got an Eagly action sequence, which I thought was fucking great. And I would love to see Eagly beat up more people because that was an entire delight. Everything that Eagly did, I laughed out loud and I enjoyed. So as the two things that were sort of the standout newer bits of this episode, that's kind of where I stood on those.
Oh, Shannon, what did you think about this episode here, the second episode of the second season of Peacemaker overall?
Yeah, it was setting things up, and it was covering ground that we already knew either from the first episode or from the trailer. But I thought in terms of what we got, I actually really liked it. There are some James Gunn jokey parts that I think like, okay, this is part of the game. But in terms of like Frank Grillo being a little more featured at the beginning, getting that flashback with him first getting into Argus, and you see Economist trying to kind of butter him up a little bit, like getting that scene I thought was really effective. I mean, him going through the action report and seeing the emotional toll that reading about how his son died. I thought that was actually really, really nice. And even though it was stuff that we, again, do know, we did get Economist featured a little bit more, which and Adebayo, who I know John had mentioned last episode, like felt like they kind of got pushed to the side. I think now they were a little more focused. Why Adebayo's girlfriend wants to go live in Gotham, I think is a fascinating topic that I would love to hear more about. But yeah, in terms of overall, I really liked it. I mean, I thought the Eagly action scene was fantastic. I think the concept of bird blindness is something you would have seen in an SNL sketch about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But overall, I did enjoy it. And John Cena continues to do some very nice work in this.
Yeah, I would say I liked the episode for what it was when it got into the relationship stuff and when it got into the personal struggles that everyone is going through. Because we haven't mentioned Harcourt at all in this, and you guys break down. And Harcourt is something that I'm following very closely this season because it seems very clear that they are juxtaposing her journey with Chris's journey, right?
100%.
Right? And Chris is dealing with his stuff because Chris is like, he wants to be a hero. He had been a sarcastic asshole season one, and that was his defense mechanism to keep people from getting close to him. Well, now that these quote unquote 11th Street kids have opened the door, he's more vulnerable, and in his vulnerability, he can get lost. He's on a journey here, and it's only when he's drinking or high that he goes into the other universe to seek that kind of stroke after he's been let down by Harcourt. But Harcourt is dealing with her own shit, and she's clearly a lost soul right now. The fact that woman walks up to her and tries to help her and goes a bit too far, and I agree with that. They played the scene like first thing she says, as long as I'm here, if you need help, I can give you numbers, whatever. That's all you need to do to move away. The fact she kept pressing it and caused this reaction. Now, I'm not saying Harcourt was right, but you see that there's like this sense of her wanting to push everyone away from her now in this season. I thought those things really worked. And when they had that conversation on the ledge, I think I have a picture of it. Yeah, when they're having this conversation, he is trying to reach out to her. He's trying to say like, listen, I'm here for you. I want to help you. And she's like, well, you're more fucked up than me. So how can you help me? Which happens sometimes when you're in that place. So I like that they explored all of that in the episode, and Chris's journey as well, and where he's trying to figure himself out. And we're seeing Economos struggle with where he belongs in all of this, because yes, they're all getting together having a party, but he is the one spying on Chris. And so how is that going to play itself out once he really knows more of it about what's going on? Those are the things that work for me. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I think Tim Meadows was completely miscast in this role when he's like talking about two women sucking. And I know that post-credit scene is meant to kind of undercut him and that he's lying about that kind of stuff. I don't know how many people made it to the post-credit scene, but I just thought that was ridiculous. And him using those terms for everybody. I'm cool if you want to use offensive terms for people's gender or ethnicity, but there better be return offensive terms about the person who's using them. And no one was calling him a moron or calling him some kind of a term that fits there for him as well, you know. And
He's
so
their
I thought
boss. They can't say that.
the guy told him to fuck off, so I feel like he could say that. That Cupid doll or whatever it was.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I just
Can't hear you, Johnny. Johnny, guys, we lost Johnny. We lost Johnny.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Is that good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Anyways, it's probably Shannon hitting the pause on my voice. All right, let's keep going. Shannon,
Well,
what did you think? Go ahead, Michael. You want to chime in on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you brought it up, is I do think, you know, and like, again, even though I thought we got a lot of information that kind of we already knew, I think everybody performances wise was top notch. And I do think that aside from Eagly going on the offensive, the scene with Harcourt and Chris on the balcony or on the rooftop when they were talking actually is the best scene in the show. It's the best scene in the episode. Because and you said this last week, John, and I'm just going to reiterate what you said. Like, anyone who's going to get mad that James Gunn cast his girlfriend, like Jennifer Holland has she's proved it. Yeah. She's proved it as far as I'm concerned. She can do whatever she wants in the DCU. She's great. Harcourt's a really interesting character. She plays the shit out of it. Yeah. And really continuing what we were talking about last week, seeing this kinder, gentler, more vulnerable Chris, the way that he tries to reach out to her and kind of brings up, well, it's like that bar that first night I met you. It's like that bar that time. And when she says, I'm not as fucked up as you, instead of him doing what he would have done in season 1, which is, yeah, fuck you, I'm not fucked up. He was just like, I'm not trying to say that. Like, he's trying so hard. Yeah. And as ridiculous as Peacemaker as a character is in so many ways, you really do feel for him. And so, again, even though none of this is new information, we kind of got it all in the first episode when he went to go see her. Right. Seeing the way that she pushes him away again, seeing as fucked up as he gets, it really does justify why he does go back and want to reach out. Because although it's great that his dad is not a racist and it's great that his brother is still alive, it's the fact that he really wants to be with Harcourt that is driving this decision. And I think it works really well.
I mean, I would slow down on his dad. I mean, you know, I don't know if he's not already. I mean, he's got imp issues. I don't know if the imp species maybe
seems on the surface seems less racist.
Fair point. And there is the thing when he walks back in there at the end of the episode. Yes, he has that interaction with Harcourt from that universe with the emoji and the heartbreak emoji and all of that. But he also hears his father and his brother talking about where he's at. They can't find him in the usual places. And his pills. Is he on the pills again? So that's a little bit of a kernel of something. What does that mean? What are the pills he was on? What is this Chris like in this universe? It's going to be fascinating because it seems like he's going to want to be part of this universe. And what is that going to lead to as he goes into this place more and more? And, you know, anybody worth their salt will tell you, and as someone who's done therapy for a number of years, if you create a safe place for them to escape to so they don't have to deal with how they feel in the current state of that they're emotionally dealing with, that's a dangerous thing that you could get lost in, and it keeps you from focusing on healing and your own journey. And I think that's the dangerous thing about that other universe. Plus, they're monitoring him the whole time he uses it. So when are they going to actually send real people in there to attack him? Not that Keystone Cops crew they sent in this past time. Shannon, what do you think?
That was a good crew. They just weren't ready for Eagly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You get caught up in housewarming gifts conversations. What about you? What do you think about it, Shannon? What do you think's happening with this unit? What do you think about the universe thing? What are they doing with that? How are they setting that up here more and more in the last 2 episodes?
I mean, I think you already, put it pretty perfectly. That's the safe place that he can escape to. Like, this is a place where he has his dad, he has his brother, he's respected, he's thought well of, at least at this point. I mean, that's what we're sort of presuming. And it was a universe where he had the chance with Harcourt, and based off of what his brother has said, based off of her sending a broken heart emoji sounds like he was the one that messed it up.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
the pictures
I mean,
and the videos on the phone, right, that he was looking at as well.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I did think, I mean, it's a fun little production thing or story thing, but when he drunk texted and it wasn't deliverable because he's not in the same universe, I was like, that's a nice touch. I mean, like what do you actually think is going to happen here, buddy?
Yeah.
And when Harcourt sort of rebuffs him on the roof and you see him, you know, house that beer.
Yeah.
And like, this is normally where he would bust open the narcotics and get an orgy going. But instead he's like, I'm going to the other universe to find some comfort because that worked last time.
Right.
So, you know, I thought that was really nice. And based off of the coming attractions for next week, I'm very excited to get to that episode. And as someone who's already seen that episode, Johnny, I'm looking at your face for tells right now.
No, nothing. Not a thing. Michael, you were going to chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, another thing that I thought was interesting in this episode is when Adebayo's talking to Economos, and Economos is kind of like, oh, does everybody hang out like this all the time? And she's like, well, no. And she says she hangs out with Harcourt, but then everyone else it's always someone hanging out with Chris. Like Chris hangs out with Vigilante. Chris hangs out with Adebayo. Chris hangs out with Harcourt. And then they're like, what's that all about? But like, it's very clear that for as ridiculous as they all thought he was in season 1, Chris is kind of the glue of this crew.
Yeah.
Everyone sort of revolves around Chris. Like, yes, because he's the lead of our show, but like he is that glue. And like when he removes himself from the situation, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, like Adebayo's partner made it real clear that she's like, oh, you're hanging out with that buffoon. You're hanging out with that idiot. Flag, you know, thinks that Chris is A, a moron, and B, he wants to kill him or get his revenge for what happened to his son. So, I mean, they've done a really nice job of, we get a really clear sense of what everyone's dealing with. Everyone is dealing with some level of guilt, trauma, issue, whatever, except Vigilante, who is just upset that he wasn't invited to the orgy, not for sex, but to bond with Chris.
I want to talk about those things, Vigilante and Eagly, because I think these are kind of X factors in this show right now. Like Chris tries to hug Eagly, and Eagly's like, "Get the fuck off of me." And so this is fascinating. And you have what's his name again? I forget the name of the guy. Yeah, Freddie Stroma. He is like so upset, as you point out, Michael, that he's not invited to this thing. But then Vigilante later, when they're bone sawing the hell out of the other Chris, he's like, this is great. We're doing things together. And then when he's out on the roof, he's climbed up the fire escape. Why is that? Is it because he knows they might not let him in? It's a weird decision. And then he laughs at her.
Dude just likes a fire escape.
I just think this guy is going to get super jealous when Chris goes into the other universe and wants to stay there. Vigilante, I think, is going to want to come with him. And the other part of this that I think is going to be fascinating is to see how Eagly reacts to Chris becoming more of a touchy-feely, emotional guy. If Eagly likes the harder edge Chris, is Eagly going to turn on Chris? So I got all these questions going on right
Eagly, here's how I feel about when he was hugging Eagly. Eagly was cool. Eagly gave him a peck and was like, get the fuck out of here. But after seeing what Eagly can actually do, I thought Eagly was being warm and fuzzy. Well, if he really didn't want that hug, Chris loses an eyeball.
Also, he was hugging him hard. He was petting him with the back of his hand. Eagly was into that. It's when he started to squeeze him that he was like, hey, man, too hard. I'm just a bird.
I'm just a bird. What about, so let's talk about this character. I know it wasn't my favorite character, this guy, but what are we going to do with this character? Where are they taking this thing? And clearly he's damaged by the attack on, because Eagly took out everybody and took out one eye. How is he going to explain this to Rick Flag, and what's going to be the next step here? Because he's clearly embarrassed by all of this now.
This is where casting Tim Meadows kind of go, like, I don't disagree with you guys that okay, Tim Meadows. It's like, if he kind of comes in as a buffoon, and like, he's got the names for everybody, he's taking Economos' nuggets, he kind of feels like a douchey boss. Calls everybody names, then the entire operation goes to fucking shit. Now, if he was acting the whole time and is really some like fucking badass mastermind, that's a thing, but I don't think that's a thing Tim Meadows can play. No, so I think he just is going to continue to sort of Tim Meadows his way through the season And I don't really know what that is. I don't really care about it one way or the other. Like, basically, the entire Flurry thing, I was kind of like, okay, you're basically there to do what Flag wants and keep Economos in the dark.
Right.
So that at some point, Economos is going to choose his friends over his job at Argus. Right. And cool. Like, that's cool. But if I just have to watch Tim Meadows make a bunch of bird blindness jokes for like 4 episodes to get there, I'm kind of going to be like, all right. Don't love it.
What is the point of him though, Shannon? Like, because Gunn is clearly making commentary throughout the show. So this is the boss that does nicknames. This is the boss that does the inappropriate massaging of his ginger cool buddy that he will not, respect him to not use that nickname.
It even feels creepy when you quote it.
Yeah, it is creepy. And he's working for Rick Flag and Bordeaux, and he doesn't even seem to have that much respect for Bordeaux when he's like, oh yeah, totally. Then he winks at Economos. Like, what is this? What are your thoughts on this? Like, what is he supposed to represent here besides being a douchey boss?
I think you pretty much covered it. He's a douchey boss that James Gunn likes. I mean, like, why you don't send Bordeaux in for this role, I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
for this operation, right, yeah.
I mean, but what I will say is Tim Meadows traditionally plays lower status guys.
Yes.
Like even the ladies' man, like even though he talks a big game, he is very much a lower status character. So the fact that he was coming in trying to play this higher status, I think outside of the jokes that didn't work, that it wasn't the way he delivered the jokes, it was the writing. I actually thought Tim Meadows did an okay job. So again, I think he's probably a little hamstrung by what he's being given right now. But even at the end, as Eagly is taking out his crew, as he's kind of crying for help, it's not meant to be it's funny. Like he's delivering those lines. It's being edited in kind of a funny way. Yeah. So he's just there to provide some.
It is true. I mean, when Tim Meadows, the peak of his arc in this episode is saying, I don't know the size of this bird in front of me because of my cursed bird blindness. He's not working with the best material.
And that's my criticism of this episode. I think, as we said last episode, when you have James writing everything, you're going to reach like that end point of his humor, and you start going into what we call the dry coughs of humor that are what's left over. And some of the jokes here,
is that what we call it?
That's what I call it. Dry cough humor. It's like you got nothing left. So it just feels like to me that's what it is, because the housewarming gifts that was so stupid didn't land.
Well, I do think
the bouncing of the leg stuff didn't land. What else did I highlight here? Where is it?
The best line he had was when he called Pokemon.
Yeah.
That was
Pokemon.
Yeah,
and he got corrected. That was the best line. I think my guess, and I will see if I'm right as we get to the rest of the season, is that he is kind of he's there for a specific plot reason. In my opinion, is to keep Economos in the dark until a certain point. Yeah. And so you needed a character to come in and be the one taking the real orders from Flag.
Right.
And then you get there and you're like, okay, well, what do I do to make this character funny? And you might be right. James Gunn was working on a lot of things, and maybe he didn't have a lot left in the bag. And he goes, housewarming and bird blindness. And that's what we got. Because you needed something to fill the space, and that's what we chose to fill it with.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of there.
I'll just tell you that Keegan-Michael Key would have made all of that work. I just think Keegan is a much better performer than Tim. No offense to Tim. Yeah, I love Tim. Ladies man, Principal, and Mean Girls. Like stuff out. He's a good actor. But I think Keegan-Michael Key would have made even bad stuff work here with the bird blindness and all of that, and the ginger cool stuff as well. Let me ask you one last thing before we move on. And Aaron. But what is going to happen here? Like, right, we saw them all getting together here. They do the 11th Street salute, but clearly everyone's got their own agendas that they're dealing with. Economos is spying on Chris. Adebayo wants to start her own security firm. Hardcore has her own issues that she's navigating. Chris has his own issues. And Vigilante, by the end of this party, is in his underwear getting doused in beer by Economos and Adebayo. So is this, and James said that the reason he had people piled up at the end of the opening, the new opening, is because people are going to die in this episode. So did you sense that this get together was kind of that little tease that not all of these people are going to make it out of the season? What do you guys think?
I mean, that's certainly possible, but I mean, in terms of like one of the things that really worked from season 1 was the chemistry of this found family.
100%. Yes.
And what makes it interesting is you tear them apart to get them back together. And at the beginning of this season, they're all kind of on their own little separate journeys, and no one's flourishing. Right. So they all get back together, but everyone is at a bit of a crossroads with each other. Like no one knows outside of Adebayo that Economos is spying on Peacemaker. Whatever has happened between Harcourt and Peacemaker, the hooking up on this boat, Adebayo knows about it.
Yeah,
kinda. And Adrian Chase, Vigilante, is always kind of left out in the cold. Will he reach his point where he finally breaks? I kind of doubt it. I don't think there's much of an arc for him. I think he is just sort of the wild card, but everyone else, there's going to be a reveal of all of these kind of semi betrayals. And that's something else that will push Peacemaker permanently into this other universe.
Yeah, Michael,
almost be. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they feel disjointed, Michael. Like it seems like they're a team without a mission, and they need a mission to be a team. What do you feel?
I think that's true, but I also think what it showed is, what I kind of took away from it as well is, despite the fact that there is all of this stuff going on under the surface, these people like each other.
Yes, true. They
like
do.
Economos and Adebayo talking, like they were like old friends. When she hugs him and he's like, "Oh, get away from me!" Like these two genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
Harcourt is pushing everyone away, but when Chris does that whole fishing pole scene and pulls her in, she can't help but smile. Like they have clear chemistry together. Like everybody likes each other despite the fact that the world and their circumstances are keeping them apart, which makes us root for them.
Yeah.
Which makes it horrible when any of them die. To Shannon's point about Vigilante not really having an arc and everyone having an arc, I think Vigilante would be my number one suspect for who's going to die.
Oh, really? And maybe
because it will fuck everybody. He is a joke to everybody.
Yes.
He's weird. He drives everybody crazy. He's a moron. All the things. But if he ends up dying in some horrible, tragic way, and that brings them all together, like we're all going to feel real shitty about it, because even as much as Vigilante is just sort of one big joke, we will feel what they feel. And like that's, and again, this is why you stick with James Gunn through the bird blindness jokes.
It's true.
Like he will give you bird blindness. He will give you a 20-minute diatribe about what a housewarming gift is, and you will roll your eyes and go, fucking James Gunn. But then when the emotions hit, you are crying and you go, fucking James Gunn.
Because I'll tell you what's brilliant. Those 3 dots under the hay.
Yeah.
Everyone's been there. Everyone's been there. If you've texted somebody that you care about or that you've broken up with or that you really want to have text you back, when those fucking 3 dots show up and then they disappear for a bit, you're like, what the fuck? What were they trying to say? Your mind goes in a million different directions. And then the broken heart thing, that's fucking genius. No dialogue spoken. And it's genius. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. That's a good point. So we'll see. And wouldn't it be something if Vigilante does do that? Because Vigilante, his crime is just wanting to be liked by everybody. He's just a socially
also awkward. He's a sociopath, but yes.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess.
Well, and I don't,
you know what? If you're just a sweet guy, if you're just a sweet guy, you don't own a bone saw. Like you're not my number one call for like, do you still have the bone saw?
When they had Peacemaker 2 in that oven, I mean, Peacemaker 1 is looking pretty forlorn, and Vigilante's kind of like, hey, look at that. Look at how he
looks. Like John said, he was just happy to hang with his buddy.
It was. It's
like that's what I mean. What's crazy about, and this is what I like about the show, is that Vigilante might be batshit insane. He might be a sociopath. He might be all the things. He's a joke of a character, but his motivation is very specific and very clear.
Yeah.
There's not a single character in this show right now, aside from Tim Meadows, who I don't know exactly what their motivation is.
Right.
Like, I know what Flag wants. I know what Adebayo wants. I know what Economos wants. Like, I know what every single character wants. And that's good. That's good writing. That's a good show. Now, like I said, this episode specifically, although I thought everything was well done in it, I was kind of like, all right, let's get to it, because I want to get to Chris in the other universe and see what happens. So that's what we're going to get. So I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah. Just a couple of last things, Easter egg wise. Chris's phone case has the Lore Tech logo on it, which I thought was a nice little shout out. There's also, of course, callbacks to Creature Commandos and the Suicide Squad and all that.
Yep.
But then Jitter's Coffee, where Kia works, is from the DC comic. So that was a nice little thing that they used as well.
And the Flash on the CW.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yes. Any other Easter eggs or references that you guys
just
want to make sure we highlight?
I know that James Gunn has come out and said that his Maxwell Lord is not the villainous Maxwell Lord and everything else, but boy, do we see a lot of Lord Tech phones.
Yes, we do.
And in the comics, when Maxwell Lord did become a villain, he used OMAX. He used digital technology to turn everybody into mindless robots to attack metahumans. Wow. I'm just saying.
It'll be fun to see that as well. All right. Well, there you go. That's our spoiler review for episode 2 of season 2 of Peacemaker. A man is only as good as his bird. We'll see what next week brings us, as we got a lot to tackle.
Well,
wow. True. I know with this one, but I haven't gone past episode 3. So this will be interesting to see what you guys think of episode 3. And then we'll get into that 4 and 5 as well. All right. Let's move on to our review of Alien Earth, the brand new episode that dropped here yesterday, I think, as we're talking about it. This one is just called Observation, simply, written by Noah Hawley, of course, Bobak Esfarjani, sorry. And it was also, and it's directed by, I hope I'm saying this right, Ugla Hochsdotter, who is I think she's a Icelandic director here, and a member of the DGA. She's directed episodes of Power, Snowfall, and Hannah as well. But this, I think, is her only episode of the season that she is directed. But in this episode, we got a lot here, a bit of a table setting episode as well, actually. But we did get a little bit more of what's going on between these characters here. We see what Singh is up against here, what he's dealing with Morrow, and what that could lead to with his family being threatened. We also see more here with this creepy dude here, basically threatening the brother of Wendy and saying, like, you know, we own your lung. You can be in debt to us in perpetuity, or you can help us spy on your sister. We have Nibs here thinking that she's pregnant, which is really creepy as fuck. We find out that these two are married, which I didn't fucking know, I guess. I wasn't paying too close of attention. They're married, but they have different points of views on what the Kid Cavalier is doing. And we had more with him and this tech bro idea of, like, I'm going to crack all the eggs until I get the right omelet that I want to have, which is really scary. And then we get this final moment with Wendy and this alien thing, and her essentially being able to speak this alien and almost like a snake charmer, have it dancing and petting it. And I had shades of Alien Resurrection when I was watching that moment. And I know that's not the one people want to reference, but it certainly felt like it. So,
I mean,
what'd you guys think of this episode? Shannon, let's go to you first, as Michael started with Peacemaker. What do you think of this episode about?
Well, I mean, so I missed the review where you all talked about the first few episodes.
Okay.
This show, I think, is one of the best things on television right now.
100%.
This comes from someone that doesn't have that vested interest in the aliens world. Like when Aliens came out and everybody got on board, my parents did not let me watch rated R movies at the time. So by the time I was able to watch it, it was like, oh, okay. Watching this, I'm like, oh shit, I get it. I saw it way later. But watching this, like the construction of these characters is so fascinating, and watching everyone's individual points of view. I mean, I know you were talking about Timothy Oliphant on the last episode and how his just how much he despises humanity. I mean, I think this is maybe one of Timothy Oliphant's, at this point at least, this is one of his best roles. Like, it's very easy to be like, yep, like he's great in Justified, he is great in Deadwood. This is a different type of character that he's playing, and he is absolutely magnetic. Sidney Chandler, fantastic. Like everyone is just so, this is such a well-cast show with really fantastic writing supporting it as well. I mean, everything that they're doing just from the production design, everything is just so captivating. And the kid that is playing Kid Cavalier, you know, the boy genius. When I first saw him, I'm like, oh, so he's a little Timothy Chalamet adjacent. And the more I watch him, I'm like, oh, you're like Timothy Chalamet. You're like the evil version of Timothy. And watching how he views himself as Peter Pan and the way he's reading this book to the kids at night, this is such a fascinating show. And the amount of unsettling imagery that happens specifically in this episode. I mean, again, this is captivating television. This is why Noah Hawley is one of the best writers in TV right now.
Yeah. What'd you think, Mike, of this episode observation? I already mentioned things that happened in the episode. What'd you think of this?
I'm trying to think. You mentioned that it was another table setting episode, and I was thinking through it as you were talking, and I was like, well, is it a table setting episode? Because I certainly enjoyed it much more than I enjoyed Peacemaker episode 2. Agree with everything Shannon said. It's reiterating what I said last week. I think this is fucking great. Like, I think the show is great. And as I was saying when we were talking Starfighter earlier, I think they're really finding this balance of, it feels like Ridley Scott's Alien. A lot of the sets, the iconography, like there's things there that I go, as someone who is a hardcore fan of the Alien franchise, like it feels right to me. But then you're just giving me stuff that I've never seen or even thought about before. And I think that what makes this episode different is that even though, we're all waiting for that alien to bust out of that lung, which happens at the end of the episode, so many curveballs are thrown our way. I mean, Nibs showing up and all of a sudden announcing that she is pregnant, understands what sex is, but hey, Jesus was immaculately conceived, so she thinks it's the same, and that she's really dealing with all of this trauma. But we got to see, oh, maybe putting a kid in a giant, super strong synthetic body isn't the smartest move. And we got to really see that. And it was very unsettling. So like, that was like new information. We got to see the eyeball in action, which again,
look at that thing.
I have never seen a sheep look at me and be that unsettled. Like it was the entire sequence of watching, I think I was telling someone this, in a franchise that has the face huggers, the alien drones, the xenomorphs, the queen, all of the stuff that we have come to expect, it's hard to top those. And I don't know that the eyeball tops those, but I am telling you that eyeball is going to be in a lot of alien content moving forward. I don't know about the other things yet, but that eyeball has captured people's mind. We are going to see that eyeball show up in alien comic books. It's going to be in other movies. Like, it is so unsettling the way it crawls into that head, attaches to the brain, and then is staring out. Like when that sheep stood straight up on its back legs was wild to me. And even with Slightly and Morrow, like there was a lot of talking that was like, okay, we knew what was going to happen, but Morrow really upped the ante, like getting Slightly to give him his real name. And then when Slightly reached the point where he was like, I'm not going to fuck with this, I can't do it. And Morrow is sitting next to his real mom and is like, okay, well, I'm going to kill your family. And you're like, oh, so we've upped the ante there as well. And then the thing that I do find most fascinating, and agree again with Shannon just about Timothy Olyphant's performance, is Kirsch is the thing about synths in the Alien franchise is the big surprise in the first Alien movie was that the synth was bad. Like that the synth was the one. The synth is like, ostensibly, you are not supposed to be able to kill or by any action harm any human being. And this dude was the bad guy of the movie. And then in Aliens, James Cameron flipped it. Like Sigourney Weaver wanted nothing to do with Bishop. Like, this is a fucking synth. And then Bishop ends up being the hero and like a totally trustworthy. With Kirsch, he clearly hates Boy Cavalier. But he is a synth and is not technically allowed to harm a human, but he knows what's happening with Slightly. He knows what Morrow is saying to him. He questions Slightly. He didn't call it out. He's not telling anybody that Morrow is trying to get slightly to impregnate somebody with a face hugger.
Right.
And I'm like, he is walking a line of, I'm not my programming doesn't allow me to do something, but I have such a disdain for humanity and this one human in particular. And I'm going to thread this needle as long as I can to, I'm not by action harming anybody. I'm not physically harming anybody, but just like these monkeys, I'm going to speak no evil.
Yeah.
And I think that is fascinating to watch. Like, that is wild to me. And just in general, every single character is interesting. Even the stuff that happened with Wendy and her brother, with Hermit. Is it Hermit?
Hermit, yeah.
Hermit. With Wendy and Hermit. Like, the scene between the two of them where she's, are you mad at me? And then you find out he didn't go to the funeral, and then Boy Cavalier uses that against her. Like, there's a lot of really interesting, and then Slightly getting so upset that Hermit gets to be there because his family's being threatened. And so now he wants to impregnate Hermit. Like, it's all really interesting dynamics. And I think one of the most interesting dynamics is actually Wendy and Boy Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, taking the whole Peter Pan analogy into like the, just what's really going on thematically between these two. Like, Peter loved that Wendy told stories, was like, Wendy, you've got to come to Neverland and be the mom to the Lost Boys. We're going to go on these adventures, and wanted Wendy to be all these things. But then Wendy actually was like, yeah, but being a grown-up isn't so bad. She wanted more, and it was what Peter couldn't give her. And in the same way, we know that Boy Cavalier has this whole, I want someone who's as smart as I am, who can challenge me. Well, Curly showed up last weekend and said, I'll be that. He is walking all over fucking Curly, treating her like garbage. But Wendy, yeah, exactly. But Wendy can do these things like copy the Xenomorph's language and do this stuff. But Boy Cavalier is so annoyed that she loves her brother. And in fact, in the Peter Pan book, not so much the Disney movie, but in the Peter Pan book, Peter only brings John and Michael to Neverland because Wendy says they have to come. He doesn't give a shit about her brothers. So that kind of feels the same too. So I just think throughout, even though in some ways, I think you're right, it's a table setting episode, there was so much richness in these characters and things moving forward that I was just like wrapped the whole time. And that doesn't even get into the last 5 minutes with her snake charming that fucking alien.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I say table setting, I mean, I think they're setting up what we're going to be, the big storyline.
Yes, for sure.
Right. And I think that's what we're going to experience. And I agree with you. A very rich episode. I mean, I'm watching this episode and I'm like, this legitimately, this is cinematic in so many ways. And I don't just mean the look of it. I mean the questions it is asking when you're watching the show. It's working on so many levels. You can default to cult leader. You can default to the AI versus human discussion. You can default to the fact that it's what's the relationship between the brother and the sister. Well, her consciousness has been downloaded. The idea that she is property of this company, because he's like, when can I bring her home? And you knew immediately when you're watching the show, when he says that, you're like, oh, you poor deluded moron. They're never going to let her go. But then is she going to break out of it? Because when she's, Boy Cavalier tricks her because she is supposed to be meeting with Dame Sylvia, and instead it's him, and he makes sure he is trying to, as you said, Michael, weave his way in between the brother and her. He's trying to corrupt her because he wants to be able to have her for his own. But we saw earlier with the other doctor, he can control her hearing. There are things that control her. And once she starts to realize that those things need to be deprogrammed so that she will be able to be in possession of herself, no one's going to be able to stop her. And the way they're setting up Boy Cavalier, like, there's about 10 people who kill this motherfucker, including Species right now. He is being set up. I saw some review that say that, well, he's not really a villain. And I'm like, you're out of your motherfucking mind. He's absolutely a goddamn villain. He's not some techno moron just stepping on eggs. He is legitimately a villain, and he is slowly but surely becoming more of a villain throughout this. And I also think we talk about Kirsch, which is great, but I also think we need to talk about Adam, because this guy, by the way, for those of you who don't know, and maybe you're old enough to remember this is the dude from the Young Ones. If you remember the Young Ones, he's the punk rock loud guy with the orange hair. He's amazing. And I can't believe this is the same guy, which I discovered this week, but he is also looking at Boy Cavalier. Remember, he's like, remember we discussed this, and Boy Cavalier tells him, no, glass half full. Remember, we discussed. So there's things that I think he actually cares for this situation more than he's letting on. And so I think it's going to be these two fighting each other, and then eventually it's going to be these two going at each other. So this is going to be fascinating to see the way it's all moving in the moving parts, because everyone's got their agendas and everyone's got things they're doing. And Shannon, you're 100% right. Here's where Timothy is doing his best acting, in the spaces between the lines. When he's looking, or before he responds, like when is it Toodles who's asking about changing his name to Isaac.
Yep.
Do you think this is the right time for that conversation? And then he's like, yeah, maybe you should change your name. So you see that he's doing this, like he's monitoring and hating humanity at the same time. It's almost a game to him, which I think is fascinating.
It's interesting. Smee is the only one who it hasn't really moved his story forward. So I'll be interested to see what happens. But with the rest of them, Curly is trying to like be teacher's pet to Boy Cavalier. Slightly is literally going to try and impregnate Hermit with a face hugger.
Yes.
Toodles is changing his name and kind of asserting his own identity. Nibs is going around telling everybody she's pregnant and is a psychopath. Like, and then Wendy is Wendy, obviously. Like the fact that these characters have sort of all leapt to life in such a fascinating way is just in a show where we're really here to be like, give me the xenomorphs, I want to see the aliens. They've given us so many things that we're like, yeah, this is great. So that when you did get to the end and you had the chest bursting scene and Wendy started humming to that thing and then petted it and you were like, what the fuck is this? Like that was practically the icing on the cake.
I also think it's important, this scene, Shannon, chime in on all of this, Shannon, but also this moment here when they're having the discussion about giving us the exposition, who maybe are new viewers to the Weyland-Yutani, Blade Runner, Alien Universe, all of that stuff. There's also the discussion about who's older, right? Because Wendy was essentially assigned to be in charge of them, but Curly's older. And so I think Smee is older as well. So you have this dynamic that's shifting as so all of them start to embrace a little bit more of their agency. Where is this all going to lead to, and how is it going to break? So.
Well, the fascinating thing is, like, the thing that I was going to say actually connects to that scene. Who is it? Arthur, the scientist with the beard who's married to Jane Sylvia. So the discussion that they have outside of the lab, and he's basically saying, like, this is a bad situation. Like, we are doing incredibly important work, and he is very distracted right now. And you can see the way that the hybrids are starting to develop might be a result of Boy Cavalier being a little distracted with this stuff from Weyland-Yutani. Like, you're going to see that maybe had he been focused on the task at hand, these hybrids, especially it's Nibs, right? The one who thinks she's pregnant. You're going to see that the hybrids are going to be just as dangerous as these alien species. So I did think it was a very clever way to get the exposition of the world out, being like, governments didn't work, corporations took over the five. And again, not knowing a ton about like the alien and aliens world, I'm very curious if those corporations outside of Weyland-Yutani are referenced in any of the former films.
No.
So
no. Prodigy.
So this is all new. Like just like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation has been ever present from the Nostromo to Aliens to Alien 3. Like it's Weyland-Yutani, and then we're gonna get to Predator Badlands, which brings Weyland-Yutani into Predator. But the entire landscape of these other corporations, and that this is how the corporations all run the earth, and all this is all brand new.
Yeah.
The only I don't want to say negative, but I think the only critique, and the only reason I'm bringing it up, is because you all brought it up before. All of the characters are so fully fleshed out, and there is a lot of quirkiness there, and I think that is serving the story. Also, I think that's a trademark of Noah Hawley's writing. The only one for me that the quirkiness doesn't really work is Joe, is the brother. I think I wanted someone a little more straight down the line, but he has sort of an awkwardness in knowing that he is a battlefield medic. I'm like, I don't think you're like this. But again, everything else is so good. And the unsettling nature of that sheep standing up on two legs was about one of the most horrifying things that I have seen on the small screen. When my wife and my wife, who is a huge animal lover, when we were watching the first or second episode and the cat shows up.
Yeah.
And the moment that the eyeball crawls out of the cat's eye socket, I could physically feel my wife disconnect from the show. And when we were watching the episode last night, I kind of peered over. I'm like, all right, she's asleep. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. But watching that sheep stare at Timothy Oliphant and Oliphant staring back, like everything that they're presenting is so freaking fascinating. But listening to that exhale that the sheep is doing, it almost sounds more like a bull than it does a sheep. But the taking the body for a test drive, like, oh my God, this is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
The best thing about that sheep staring at Kirsch is that Boy Cavalier got jealous.
Yes.
The best thing is that Boy Cavalier, like that sheep was sizing up Kirsch as like, oh, I think you're the smartest person in the room besides me. And Boy Cavalier like literally is like knocking on that glass being like, no. Look at me. I'm like, really? Do you really want that thing to look at you?
Well, that's what I mean. And that's the thing. Like when Boy walks in on Kirsch too, who was there talking to Wendy at the beginning, he's like, don't you need to go on and do things in your lab? Like that. That's the way he dismisses it. And Kirsch, again, Kirsch not saying a word initially, just, no, you're right. I should be there. And you're like, oh, fuck off. Like
it's going to come to a head. Now, the thing that I think is going to be what makes or breaks this season is why can Wendy do what she can do?
Yes. Well,
it's very compelling.
Yeah.
Like it's compelling. And the ending, the fact that she can make those noises last week, the fact that she could hear them, like the whole thing is very, very interesting. But why Wendy and not the others? What is it about Wendy that can do this? Because if there's a good reason, and given Noah Hawley being Noah Hawley, I'm assuming that there is, it's going to be great. If it's never really explained or it's explained, but you're kind of like, that'll be the challenge. But you know, as someone who is a big fan, like what happened at the end of this episode reminded me of is it's one of my favorite moments in Aliens is when Ripley comes in and faces the Queen for the first time, and the Queen kind of like hisses, and you see some of the xenomorphs coming in on either side, like they're going to attack Ripley, and then Ripley like sprays the fire over the eggs, kind of like, hey, I'll fuck these eggs up. And then the Queen hisses again, and the drones move away. I'm like, oh, is Wendy gonna be the queen of these xenomorphs? Like, is that where we're going with this? Like that's a Wendy who can all of a sudden control all of these xenomorphs that are going to show up on the island. Like that is a crazy thing. And I kind of am like, let me see where that goes.
Yeah, Nibs is claiming to be a mother. Wendy's going to be the mother. I 100% I think you're on the right path there. And I think this can't be discounted either. You mentioned Arthur Shannon. It's not a coincidence that they showed us that he can control what they can hear, what they can't hear. And he's the one that's having issues with what's happening. She's not so much having issues because she's like, it's a multinational. We do things at once. He's saying, no, this is dangerous. Not right. So don't discount the fact that Arthur, he's probably going to die. But before he dies, he's going to deprogram all that shit so that these synths, in essence, or hybrids, whatever you call them, will be able to do what they want to do and not be controlled by any of this stuff. And that's going to be his final revenge on Boy Cavalier, I think.
Do you think Dame Sylvia changed her tune after she went to that little session with Nibs?
I mean, she changed her tune that she's afraid. That's for sure.
She was like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Then Nibs leapt across the room like a fucking ninja. And I was like, oh, shit.
One of the great things about the way this is being shot is if you know the film Apocalypse Now, there's a lot of the same techniques to fade in while other things are happening and conversations are happening. It's really brilliant. It gives you that sense of dread. And you could argue, although it's very Peter Pan-esque, there is Hearts of Darkness here. There is he's kind of a madman on his own island. He's got his people around him. And now there's this person who's come in. Hermit, in essence, is the Martin Sheen of the situation. What is he observing and seeing as this all goes down? So it's going to be fascinating to see who ends up living, who ends up dying. And again, he is Morrow is as insidious as Boy Cavalier in his own way. The way he threatens Singh and the way he puts his mom basically on blast, and his brother's on blast. There is more danger to come from him. And if Singh goes through with it and puts the face hugger on Hermit, how is that going to affect Wendy? So there's a lot that's going to happen here. A lot of fights before this is all over. All right. Anything more we should talk about with this episode? Anything more we missed? You guys want to make sure we hit?
No, just that thus far, I mean, this is the highest praise I can give, but like thus far, this show is to the Alien franchise as Andor was to Star Wars to me.
Agreed.
Like it is operating on that level at this point. We'll see if it sticks its landing, but this is the 4th episode, so this is the halfway point of the season. So we'll see.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Oh, go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say for an aliens neophyte, this is incredibly captivating storytelling. And again, I mean, this is just such a huge testament to Noah Hawley, who isn't perfect. That one season of Fargo, season 4, but everything else he's done, he has a very, very high batting average. And thus far, it seems like he is crafting. I can only imagine how long it took to write this show, because there is so much in it.
Yeah, I will say this to go on Michael's point. 3/4 of the way through this episode, I said to myself, this is better than anything Ridley Scott did coming back to the franchise. This is already better than Prometheus.
Easily.
Right? Better.
Don't even get me started on fucking Prometheus and Alien Covenant, because we'll be here for another hour of just me talking about how mad it makes me.
It's so true. It's so true. And what'd you just say, Shannon? For a neophyte, is presenting the way it's presenting it is just on point in its depiction of this world, right?
Yeah, for having a lack of context for the world outside of Ripley, Wayland Yutani, and the engineers, because I did go see Prometheus. This is just absolutely captivating,
and that's a positive for a show that is, coming out to try to get new viewers and new people into this franchise. It's a smart move, and so we'll see what happens. And you're right about season 4. I still have not seen season 5 of Fargo because season 4 burned me so bad. So we'll see.
Season 5 is good.
Everyone says it's good, but I guess I'll have to finally commit to that right after my adventures with Superman. All right. Anyway, there you go. That's our spoiler review for episode 4 of Alien Earth. Thank you all so much for joining us and listening or watching here on the Geek Buddies. Shannon, what do we have to tell them?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's @geek_buddies, on Instagram at @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's @Shannon_McClung, on Instagram, it's Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you'd like to follow Mr. Vogel, it is @MKToon. If you'd like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is @TheRochaSays.
Mikey.
Go ahead and smash that like button below. Subscribe to John Rocha's John Rocha page and check out all the amazing John Rocha content that is John Rocha-ing all over it. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought about the Starfighter news. What did you think of Peacemaker episode 2? What did you think of Alien Earth episode 4? And what do you think about the fact that Shannon really needs to get his shit together when it comes to the Alien franchise? Let him know in the comments below. If you are listening to us on a podcast, go ahead and leave us some comments and some stars so we go up in the rankings and more people can find us. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your social, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
Shannon, I'm coming for you, Shannon. All right, anyway, all right.
Thank you all. Horrifying.
Thank you all so much, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the
Geek